是我报的洪义金
啊。
我的问题是，这一次完全没有女部长，然后现任的那个2位高级政务部长跟政务部长都没有升级。请你就这一点发言好吗？
我们没有一个固打，不过当我们有好的人选的时候，当时机成熟了，我们就会把他们升到部长级。那这一次没有我们没有这么做，可是以后当然还有这么做的可能性。A question was, why is there no lady minister? So my answer is, well, there's no quota, but when we have a suitable person, we will promote her to be a minister or him. And this time we did not do so. We brought in several female ministers of state, but in future I'm sure that the opportunity will come and we will be able to do so.
Can you comment on why was Grace Fu and Amy Koh transferred to the various ministries?
It's because of my overall arrangements. I mean, I have Grace Fu is now in Muir and Mika. I think Mika particularly, it is valuable to have somebody like Grace with a Chinese language background who will be able to deal with, who will be able to engage the arts groups who are with the Chinese arts groups, and also deal with the Chinese media and have a feel for them and what's happening. As for Amy in Ministry of Health, she's also in REACH, and I think she has a concern for people and their problems, and health is one of those areas where we will be looking at our policies and seeing what more we need to do, and I think she's a good fit there. Yes, Lydia?
From Straits Times. You've appointed new chiefs of 11 out of the 14 ministries, and in your statement you said that the ministers will have a free hand to rethink and reshape policies.
Yes.
So could I ask you what kind of rethinking and reshaping you would like to see from the new ministers?
We will save that for another day. But basically, we want the policies to be responsive, to address real problems which Singaporeans have, at the same time be policies which will be sound and which over the long term will deliver results and a better life for Singapore, whether it's housing, whether it's healthcare, whether it's a better public transport system, whether it's a better social safety net, which doesn't undermine the will for people to work and achieve. These are trade-offs and judgments, not just policy judgments, but political judgments, which the ministers will have to make.
Could you elaborate a little bit about what you see as some of the challenges that ministers might face in this new environment? In MM and SM's statement, they talked about a more difficult and complex situation going forward.
I think people want to be engaged more. They want to know what the government is doing. They want to understand why the government is doing this. We also would like to encourage people to come forward with ideas of constructive ideas on what we can do and how they can participate to make Singapore better. So engaging them systematically and taking these many views into account and harmonizing them to the extent possible in order to come up with a coherent policy which people will support and accept. I think that's not just a matter of writing a paper, but a lot of groundwork and political work and engagement. And that's one of the challenges which the ministers will have to make. And also managing expectations, because we would like to solve the major problems which face Singaporeans, but at the same time, human societies are such that you always have new problems arise and old problems are solved, and we have to understand this and accept that recognize when we're making progress, and accept that some things maybe I can't solve today, may have to wait till tomorrow or even a little bit longer. Yes?
Can I just find out, you've appointed Khaw Boon Wan as the new Minister for National Development,
Yes.
and housing remains a very hot topic right
Yes.
now. So can you explain your decision for putting Minister Khaw in National Development, and also what you hope to see him achieve, especially when we talk about reshaping and rethinking policies?
Well, he will have to review the housing policies, and HDB is a large part of it, but it's not just HDB, because also private housing also is affected by government policies. Khaw Boon Wan has done a very good job in the Ministry of Health. He's been there, I think, 8 years, since 2003. And I asked him whether he would go to MND. He says yes, he volunteers for the job. So I think that's the right attitude to go into a very difficult post. And I'm backing him up with a strong team.
May I say something?
Yes.
So I think just to back up what the PM has said, I think the ministers are keen to go into these new portfolios. It's an issue not just of reviewing policies, but it's also an issue of engaging and looking for views, connecting with all segments of society. And basically the objective which we're trying to achieve is to reach out to people, listen to what they want, and try and build the type of Singapore that they want and which we can all be proud of. That takes work. It doesn't mean that we will be able to satisfy everyone and be able to do everything that everyone wants. But we hope that at the end of the process that people will be able to accept that the policies which we are going to move forward with are policies which are for the good of Singapore and Singaporeans, and that even if they don't get exactly what they want, that at least their views have been taken into account and they understand why we're moving along in a particular direction. And I think the ministers are all keen to do this.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Chi Kong from Today. 2 questions. As you have said, the cabinet changes are quite uncharacteristic of the way PAP usually does things in terms of cabinet changes. Is there a case to be made that it could be a knee-jerk reaction or overreaction to the GE results, and how do we ensure the continuity of policies that have been sound? Second question, regarding the decision by Mr. Lee Kuan Yew and Mr. Goh Chok Tong to step down, were they made after GE? And if so, can we conclude that it was made in relation to the results and specifically that comments which some people feel that could have cost the PAP some votes?
Well, I think this is a cabinet which we have arranged a lineup after the elections. Certainly, the outcome of the elections affected my thinking in deciding how to make this cabinet. I wanted a fresh start, and that's why I've gone for a radical change. There is a significant continuity with the previous cabinet in terms of the key members who are involved. I mean, Daman and Teo Chee Hean have worked with me for quite many years, and so have a good number of the ministers who are continuing. So it's a combination of continuity and change, but it's a fresh presentation and a fresh lineup, and we're going to take a fresh approach. As for MM and SM's statement, I think they clearly made the decision after the elections, but I do not think it is because of the comments which MM made. I mean, I do not believe. I believe that MM's comments were negatively received by a significant number of Singaporeans, but I do not believe that they determined the election outcome. And I do not believe that is a reason. I know that is not the reason why they made this move. They made this move because, as they said, we are going forward into a new and more challenging environment, and it's best for a new team to take Singapore forward.